Good morning. So today I would like to just elaborate and go into a little bit more depth in regards to the feelings I had mentioned I was dealing with in my last video. I just want to put some things in perspective for you to kind of just help you with the bigger picture to really see what it was that I was dealing with at the time. And the only way I really know how to do that is by kind of airing out some of my dirty laundry of what was going on with me before I had gotten married to my ex-husband. And these things that I discussed were a huge impact in my marriage and an even bigger impact on how I felt about myself after my marriage. So probably one of the biggest things that impacted how I did things in my marriage was the fact that I had already been married. So I have been married twice. I had met somebody when I was 26. We literally met, we got married, and then within months later, we had split. We were done. And it was the craziest thing I've ever done, the dumbest thing ever. And I was one of the scariest relationships I have ever been in. Talk about unhealthy to the max, craziness. But we were together for such a short amount of time that I was able to actually get our marriage annulled. Meaning I can technically, legally say I've only been married once because my first one is kind of like null and void. But I know that I've been at the altar twice, and it definitely impacted how I saw myself and how I filtered things through my second marriage. So when I had left my first husband, I didn't start my healing process right away. I just kind of did my thing, hung out. I didn't go out and party or anything, but I definitely, was seeking out attention from men. And so that really impacted me, made things worse, my healing process a little crazier. But my healing process didn't start until months later. And I feel like it was interrupted when I met my ex-husband. I allowed it to be interrupted when I met him because of the feel-goods I got. And so that was a huge impact. I am also the oldest of 6 kids. We're a very blended family, and I love all of 4 of my parents. They have done an amazing job, but I took it upon myself to put the pressure of wanting to be like super sister and be the first one in my immediate family to get a degree and to go to school, get a degree, to be married once. And stay married and have kids. And not that our parents did a bad job at all. I just wanted to show my siblings that there's a different life that we could live regardless of the cards that were dealt to us. So I had that pressure going into our marriage. And I also had the pressure of being in ministry. So I was involved in my church at the time, but I was also the SII coordinator at a local crisis pregnancy center here in town. And really what it was is I was a healthy relationship coach, and I had after school programs. I was going into the schools. I was going into our local drug rehab center here and to different events, and I was speaking on healthy relationships, healthy boundaries, healthy sexuality. I was teaching on all of these things. So I took that into my marriage as well. So I had all these 3 major things going into my marriage, filtering how I did things, filtering what I said, and how I reacted with my husband at the time. So we were even being trained up, my ex-husband and I were being trained up to be campus leaders for our church. So it was a big deal to us. These things we were very much involved. But when things were getting hard in our marriage and he had told me that he didn't want God on his end of us anymore, I was devastated. I took it very personal, and I'm like, how do we do this without God? Like, what do you mean you don't want to have God? Like, you don't have anything to do with God anymore. You don't want to pray. You don't want to do any of this. What in the world? And I was so consumed with wanting to be accepted by my husband and wanting to be loved by my husband that I put all of this stuff that made me on the side. My family, God, my ministry, just everything. I just put it on the side, and I tried to make myself be this person that I felt that he would be happy with, that he would love, and that he would want to be with, and that he would want to spend time with. And in that process, it just got worse and worse because I'm becoming fake, more fake as time goes by, and I'm exhausted and tired, and you don't make good decisions when you're exhausted and tired and you're just as crazy as the other. And it just did not, my plan sucked. So when I had finally decided to leave, I was dealing with the feelings of failure, and it was probably one of the biggest demons I had battled. I not only was a failure to myself, but here I am again at the age of 32 years old, and I've been married twice, hot mess express, and I have let myself down. I've let all my siblings down, my whole family down. I let down my ministry, the people that I had been involved with before I had gotten married. And I literally had girls reach out to me that were so excited about us getting married because we were like this super couple when we got married. They were devastated at the fact that we had divorced because they had put us up on this pedestal. We were like the only hope, like this hope couple, that they were watching, that they were keeping their eye on, and the fact that we had split up was like devastating. Some of them were actually mad at me, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I was just like, I didn't know what to say other than the fact that I was sorry, and I had no idea what I was doing. And so these feelings became so overwhelming, but I didn't want it to happen again. I didn't want to let myself down. I didn't want to let God down again. I didn't want to disappoint again. And I wanted to be able to be a good wife, and I wanted to be able to heal and not repeat the cycle again for the sake of my sanity and for the sake of my walk with God and for the sake of my family. And I just didn't want to go through this again. So when I had my come to Jesus moment and I was determined, okay, God, I'm going to allow myself to feel these things because I know that in my healing, when I'm feeling these things, so I can deal with them, I'm going to become healed and I'm going to be a new change person. I think that when we are hurt from a divorce or something crazy, we are very vulnerable. And as much as that hurts, it's needed in order for us to heal, to be able to grow and move forward as a person. Because when we hold our feelings out here and we build these walls around these feelings that we don't like because we don't want to deal with them, we can only grow as far as these walls are. If we have 3 feet around us of brick and stone, we're only going to grow 3 feet and then we're going to be stuck. So when our walls are torn down, when we, are just in this craziness, it's actually one of the best times to heal, as crazy as it sounds. In that vulnerability, we see who we are, our true colors come out, and we are in a place where we're able to expand our boundaries, not our walls, our boundaries. So I really feel like God showed me a lot of things in that time frame, and he showed me areas in my marriage where I thought I was wrong, and he had just, let me know I was justified in those feelings. But he also showed me where I had completely failed, and he had even gone as far to show me things that had happened to me when I was a little girl and how I allowed those things to impact how I felt about myself. And I also brought those things into my marriage, and that's why I allowed certain things, like I allowed unhealthy boundaries to happen because I felt like that's what I deserved. And it was just amazing. As much as it hurt, it was so uplifting, and I had such relief in that at the same time. So as I'm mourning and I'm hurting, I'm also getting relief. And I know people have a hard time going there because their past is heavy, because they've been through some crazy stuff. They have depression, they have anxiety, they have panic attacks, they have all of these things because they just are too scared to go there. And I just want to encourage you that sometimes we have to go there in order for us to become a better person. I don't know how to deal with these things. But the thing is that we're allowing them to control us and control how we do life. We're allowing it to become anxiety. We're allowing it to become all these negative things in our life when we just have to be vulnerable and allow ourselves to be broken in that time frame and allow God to show us certain things in order to grow and to be a bigger person and a better person. And God will never make things hurt more than the initial whatever had happened, the initial craziness. He knows what we're able to tolerate and what we're able not to tolerate, and he'll guide us and walk us through that, and we'll be able to do things accordingly. And I just want to encourage you guys. It's such a huge relief, and you see things so different, and how I feel about myself and how I do things now are completely different before I was even married the second time. And I'm just doing things so different now. And I just want to encourage you guys and give you and let you know that things can change. And yes, although it might hurt, but you're going into these things with the mindset of knowing that you're one day closer to your healing, and you're one day closer to not feeling these things, and one day closer to being able to help somebody else. You really owe it to yourself to not have anxiety, to be depressed, or to be upset anymore. You owe it not only to yourself, but you owe it to your spouse. And if you're a parent or want to be a parent, you owe it to yourself to do this as well, so you can be the best parent for your kids. So I just want you guys to know I pray for all of you guys. I love you guys, and I would love to hear your feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. I take it all in, and I really filter through that. And I hope this video was good. It's kind of a little bit longer than what I usually do, but I gotta say what I gotta say. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon.